Welcome, I'm Lindsay Brancher with a summary of the BBC World News. Counting is going on in Turkey after millions of people across the country turned out to cast their votes in a parliamentary election. It was held amid political controversy over the role of Islam in government. Let's go live now to our correspondent Sarah Rainsford, who's in Ankara. So what are the exit polls telling us, Sarah?
Well, those preliminary results, as you say, starting to come in now. The polls been closed for a couple of hours. According to Turkish television, which are carrying those preliminary results, they say around about 35% of the votes have been counted, and they're giving a resounding victory, at the moment at least, to the ruling AK party, the AKP. They're giving them around 50% of the vote, followed by the CHP Republican Party with around 17%, and the Nationalist Party, the main nationalist party here in Turkey, currently coming in third, making this a three-party parliament on current results. As I say, just around 35% of the votes counted so far. Now, there was a talk of a desire to keep Islam out of politics. Have they been successful on that score? Well, I think what this vote shows so far is that whilst many people here in Turkey have been talking about a threat to the secular system, a large part of this country just doesn't agree with that. So if the result stays as high as this, or around 40 to 50% of the vote, then that shows an awful lot of people here are quite happy with the way that the current government has been ruling this country. They don't see them as a threat to the secular system, and they're happy perhaps in particular with the economy here. Turkey has a booming economy at the moment. It's emerged from years of crisis, and many people seem to be voting with that in mind as well. OK, Sarah, thanks very much.
Well, let's take you live to the centre of that story. In Ankara is the BBC correspondent Sarah Rainsford. Sarah, over to you.
Well, the results showing a resounding victory so far for the ruling AK party. At the moment, the current estimates give them around 47% of the vote. That's up from 34% last time, 4 or 5 years ago, when they first came to power here. A surprise result for many people, a very strong showing for the ruling party, which had been claimed by the secular establishment was a threat to the system here, a threat to the secular system. Well, to discuss those results, I'm joined by Ihsan Dar from the Middle East Technical University here in Ankara. A surprise result today, 47% of the votes?
It was expected that AK party will get over 40%, but 47 still, I think, beyond expectations. But I think it tells us that AK party managed to reach out masses in Turkey and prove that it really represented the center in Turkish politics. So in that sense, amid the growing nationalism in Turkey, the AK party's electoral victory is, I think, significant message to the world that Turkey is still far away from being trapped by this nationalist, inward-looking sentiment in Turkey.
But what about this claim that the AK party, the ruling party, is a threat to the secular regime here in Turkey? We saw millions of Turks out on the streets claiming exactly that, and they were trying desperately to chip away at the AK party's hold on power. Why didn't it happen?
I think it was a deception. When we look at the TESEV report 2006, the same question was asked, said whether secularism is under threat or not. 22% of people said yes, but 71% said no. This election result indicate again that those who voted for CHP concerned about the future of secularism, so they vote for CHP, so they make up 1/5 of society at large. I think what is really what used to be, at least before the election, under threat in Turkey was not really secularism but democracy, given the memorandum that the military issued on April 27 and the decision of the Constitutional Court. So we really came forward from a democracy crisis, from a crisis of rule of law. So this election result, in that way, I think proved that Turkish people at large stick to democracy, stick to rule of law, and stick to the idea of European Union integration. Because this result also it proves AK party's pro-globalization, pro-EU, and pro-reform policies. Well, so the nationalist coalition led by CHP and MHP was defeated by the Turkish people in this election.
So a very strong showing there for the AK party, and certainly as well as Ihsan was just mentioning there, the nationalists back in Parliament this time for the first time in 5 years. What's crucial now is to see how the secular establishment will respond to a very strong showing by the ruling AK party, and that establishment, of course, includes the military. Back to you in the studio.
Sarah, thanks very much.